Hey everyone, Melissa Metcalf Leroy here, coming to you once again from my kitchen on Sunday afternoon. We are still in week 14 of the 2020 52-week Eating Healthy Challenge, and this recipe that I'm about to show you next is our snack recipe. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been using an ingredient that I had in my pantry before it expires. It is that wonderful all-natural vanilla pudding mix. And I still have a couple of boxes left, so I am using it once again this week in the snack recipe. So let me adjust the camera so you can see the ingredients and let's get started. All right, so the first thing that we did is we actually melted some white chocolate here. So I used the Ghirardelli's white baking chocolate, 4 squares of that with 2 tablespoons of almond milk. I just put it on 50% power in the microwave and stirred it about every 10 to 15 seconds. It took about a minute in my microwave to get that completely melted. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding the ingredients now into our bowl. So the first ingredient that we're gonna start with is honey. So you wanna make sure that when you're choosing honey, to choose a brand that is local to you. Particularly now we're in the spring season with allergies. Here, where I'm at in Saluda, North Carolina, the trees are just starting to bud and the flowers are coming out. It's absolutely a beautiful time of year. It's gorgeous today outside. So we're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of local honey to our bowl. I'm just using the spatula here to make sure that we get all of that goodness out of that tablespoon. Perfect. Okay. The next thing that we're going to be adding is 1 tablespoon of coconut flour. Remember, in recipes that I have showed you before, coconut flour is a great substitution for regular flour and or almond flour. However, keep in mind with coconut flour, it's going to kind of soak up all of that moisture. So that's what's going to help us form those protein bites in just a moment. All right, and then finally, the vanilla pudding. So I have about an ounce left in this packet, so that's what I'm going to be adding. This is actually 1.6 ounces. So if you recall, I used a little bit of it last week for those protein balls that we did. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was the protein shake. I'm 2 weeks behind here, my apologies. It was the protein shake that we did last week. Then we're going to add 2 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk. And now I'm going to add in our chocolate mixture. Make sure that we get all of that chocolate in here. Now, if you had the all-natural chocolate vanilla pudding mix, you could also be making dark chocolate protein balls. Hey, that's maybe an idea for next week, actually, because I do have 1 box of that left as well. And then to this, I'm going to kind of look at the mixture here and maybe just move it around just a little bit in the bowl to see exactly how much of the protein powder I need. So depending upon how much liquid is in here, you may have to play around with this mixture just a little bit. So I'm just going to give it a stir here. The original recipe calls for 3 scoops of pea protein powder. So I've got actually 2 different sizes of scoops in here. So I think I'm going to go with my 2 tablespoon scoop, the larger one here, to see. I'm going to start with 2 scoops first. So that's 4 tablespoons. For those of you taking notes at home and watching from home, pull the little one out here. So now I'm going to get my fork and I'm just going to mix this up just a little bit to see exactly where we're at as far as the consistency. So keep in mind, if the consistency is too liquid, we can always add a little bit more of the coconut flour in here, or you can always use what you have readily available, your freezer. We can freeze this for about 10-12 minutes to get this to a consistency in which we can roll out the balls and or use our cookie scoop for that. So we're getting there. Just keep in mind that that chocolate was hot, so it's melted. So once it freezes and or is placed in the refrigerator, it's going to come together rather nicely. All right, so I think here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add half of a tablespoon of the coconut flour back into our mixture here. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the pea protein powder. And that should give us a nice consistency to scoop it out. As long as we can scoop it out with the cookie scoop and or with a spoon and place it in our to-go container. Remember, putting it in the refrigerator is going to solidify it for us. And so you're going to store these in the refrigerator. Oh yeah, now we're getting a nice cake batter here, if you can kind of see that on the screen. Oh, that's much better. Yes. I think we can work with that. All right. So now what we're going to do is we've got a to-go container here off to the side. We're going to work with this just a little bit more, bringing it back down a little bit to room temperature. We're going to use our cookie scoop that we have here. We're going to put it in the to-go container. These are going to last for about 5 to 6 days in the refrigerator. So this is going to be a great grab-and-go snack. For those of you at home, working from home right now, this is going to be a great snack versus any junk food that you have around the house. So this is a nice, healthy snack for you. All right, we're going to get started putting these in the to-go container. So once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy.